Hey, welcome back. Corelogic revised upward their latest housing market forecast through October of 2024. So in today's video, I'll share all the details, plus I'll also share the top 5 US cities in which they believe home prices will decrease the most over the next 12 months. I'll also discuss the states and cities in which home prices have increased and decreased the most over the past 1 year. I have a lot to share in today's video, but before we get started, if you guys want a real estate agent referral, check out my new website, which is realestateteamfinder.com. I'll personally call you to learn about your real estate goals so I can best match you with a great real estate agent in your neck of the woods. That's realestateteamfinder.com. With that said, let's begin today's video. Before I shared their latest real estate market predictions, they provided what happened regarding home prices compared to 12 months ago. This, by the way, is October last year through October this year. There's a lag in this data because there's a lot of data to compile here. So they actually just announced this on December 5th. It says home prices nationwide, based on their HPI or their home price index, increased year over year by 4.7% this October compared to last October. So overall for the nation, prices have increased by 4.7%. What I found to be really interesting is that their forecasts posted 1 year ago, back in December 2022, their forecast was a gain of 4.1%. So our forecast from 12 months ago came in very close to the actual gain at 4.7%. Also on a month-to-month basis, home prices increased by 0.2% this October. Before I share their latest housing market forecast here's their previous forecast this year. So in January 2023 through January 2024, their real estate market predictions wasn't gained in prices up by 3.1%. Then in February, it increased to 3.7%. That marked the third consecutive upward revision. Then in March, it increased to 4.6%. Then in April through April 2024, a gain of 4.6%, flat compared to the previous month. Then in May, they actually had a downward revision down from 4.6, now it's at 4.5%. Then June this year through June next year, a slight decrease from the previous month, a gain of 4.3%. Then in July, an increase of 3.5%, a fairly big decrease compared to the previous month. Then in August through next August, a gain of 3.4%. Then in September, a fairly big decrease going from 3.4 down to 2.6%. That marked the fifth downward revision in their 12-month housing market forecast. Now their new housing market forecast for October this year through October 2024 is an increase of 2.9%, a small increase compared to the previous month, but the first upper revision since March this year. And here's a chart showing just that. They're forecast at 2.9% over the next 12 months. They're also predicting that from October through November this year, home prices will be flat at 0%. Corelogic also discussed the areas in which home prices have increased the most over the past 1 year here. It says US single-family home price growth continued to increase modestly in October, an increase of 4.7%. On a regional level, the Northeast again showed the biggest prices rebounding. The top 5 states with the highest annual appreciation this October are in that area of the country, with growth ranging from a gain of 10.3% in Connecticut to a 9.3% increase in Maine and New Hampshire. The Northeast could be enjoying renewed home price gains in part due to a largely hybrid American workforce in which employees have to go to their offices a few times per week. Home price growth maintained its upward momentum in October, which continues to reflect gains from the strong spring home buying season. So again, we're talking about year-over-year changes. Even though we are seeing a seasonal decrease in prices, which is normal during this time of year, when talking about year-over-year changes, we have to take in consideration the gains in prices we saw in the spring months this year. On top of that, compare that to the last half last year where home prices were falling greatly. This year, we're not seeing that big fallout in prices like we saw in 2022. And for all these reasons, that's one of the reasons, or I should say, this is one of the reasons why home prices are up compared to 12 months ago. They also say here, but even with high rates, October's price gains are in line with historical trends, which is also pretty mind-blowing, right? We had about a month and a half ago, the average rate was around 8%, a 23-year high for an average 30-year fix for people with great credit. Despite that big increase in rates, we're not seeing a sharp pullback in prices due to, in most parts, due to the fact we have a low level in the number of existing houses for sale, still down big time compared to pre-pandemic levels. And also, depending on the news source you look at, inventory levels in general is still down on a year-over-year basis. So for example, according to AltosResearch.com, for the week ended December 1st this year, there was actually just under 556,000 houses for sale nationwide. 1 year ago at this time, there was approximately 550,000 homes for sale. So for example, according to Redfin, for the 4 weeks ended November 26, there was 856,000 houses for sale, but that's a decrease of about 7% compared to the same time frame in 2022. In contrast, looking at AltosResearch.com, because for the week ended December 1st, we're at just under 556,000 homes for sale. 1 year at this time, we're actually at about 550,000. So according to Altos, we're up slightly, but compared to Redfin, we're actually down by about 7%. All right, let's get back to Corelogic's latest housing market forecast and how each of the 50 states fared. Some very big differences here because some states are still experiencing increases in prices by double digits, whereas other areas are actually going down here. So there's actually 4 states that experienced decreases in prices compared to October of 2022. Those 4 states are Idaho, Montana, Texas, and Utah. This is actually an improvement though, because in their previous report, which covered September last year through September this year, there's actually 5 states that were down. Now there's only 4. But this is still much different compared to 1 year ago, because have a look at this. This is a report from 1 year ago. Ignore this right here because this is actually October of 2022, which is right here. This is a typo here. So 1 year ago, home prices overall for the nation were up by 10.1%. And no states posted a decrease on a year-over-year basis as well. In fact, here are the top 10 US states that posted the biggest increases in prices from October of 2021 through October of 2022. Florida led the nation, a gain of 23%. Then we had South Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, North Carolina, Vermont, Arkansas, Texas, Arizona, and Alabama, all experiencing an increase over 13%. This is much different compared to what we're seeing right now, though. Look at this. Only 1 state up by double digits. That's Connecticut, the number 1 spot, which, by the way, they didn't even make it the top 10 1 year ago. After Connecticut was New Jersey, Rhode Island, Maine, New Hampshire, Wisconsin, Vermont, Missouri, South Dakota, and Ohio. A lot of these metros here, or a lot of these states here, are located in the Midwest and the Northeast. Compare that to 1 year ago, much of these states are actually located in the South. That's because the top 5 best performers of 1 year ago were located in the South. And here's our map from about 12 months ago. As you can see here, much of the southern states here experienced the biggest gains in prices, whereas much of the West, for example, experiencing the smallest gains in prices. In fact, Idaho was the biggest or the smallest increase compared to 12 months ago. That was for October 2022. Now here's this October. The map looks a lot different, right? So much of the Midwest as well as the Northeast are experiencing the biggest increases in prices, whereas we have Montana, Idaho, Texas, and Utah experiencing decreases in prices right now. Let's also have a look at how each of the 10 biggest US metros fared this October. The biggest increase yet again is Miami, up by 8.8%. Then we had San Diego up by 6.8%, Los Angeles a gain of 3.4%, Las Vegas up by 1.2%, Phoenix up by 2.6%, etc., etc. Also, some Northeast metros are experiencing gains compared to the small increases in the West, excluding San Diego. This map 1 year ago is much different though. Look at this, 22.6% increase in Miami compared to the previous year. All experiencing increases big time across the United States. In fact, what's interesting though is that last year, the Northeast was increasing, but not increasing at the same rate in other areas, especially Miami, Florida. Whereas right now, the Northeast is experiencing some of the biggest increases nationwide right now. What also really caught my attention this October is that Houston, Texas is only up by 1.1%, whereas in October 2022 compared to 2021, they saw a gain of 12%. So some of these markets here experienced huge gains 1 year ago, whereas right now, very small increases year over year. Corelogic also provided the top 5 US markets in which they believe home prices will decrease the most over the next 12 months. So they believe that Cape Coral, Fort Myers, Florida has a very high probability, that's above a 70% probability of prices decreasing over the next 12 months. By the way, each of these 5 metros is a very high probability according to Corelogic. That's number 1. Number 2 is in Youngstown, Warren, Ohio, Pennsylvania area, Atlanta, Georgia, West Palm Beach, Florida, and Daytona Beach, Florida, rounding out the top 5. With that said, what's your biggest takeaway from today's video? And what do you guys think about the predictions for home prices to increase by 2.9% over the next 12 months? Please leave a comment below. I appreciate you. Also, if you guys want a real estate agent referral, check out the link in the video description below or go to realestateteamfinder.com. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next video.